Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for 6 things we learned from Bournemouth 1, Chelsea 3. Can you believe it? We've got 3 points and 3 goals. And it just so happened to be the one game that I didn't watch live in I don't know how long. I watched everything back, had it paused, pressed play, and it was a joy to not only know that we'd won before I watched the 90 minutes of football, but it's a relief, isn't it? Let me know by hitting the like button on this video. It's a relief to finally see Chelsea win a game of football. Frank Lampard, I'm delighted for him. In terms of the way that we played, it wasn't perfect. I wouldn't say we saw any kind of real style or progression tactically, but I will say that we dealt with what we had to come up against well. I think we dominated large portions of the game. And most importantly, Chelsea have struggled so much to get numbers in the box, to make forward runs, and we saw that significantly more. And there are quite a few players yesterday who, when I look at the lineup, seeing Havertz up front, I was like, I'm expecting the worst, but everybody did okay. Everybody did good. And it's at a point where if we use this performance yesterday against Bournemouth as like a base rate of what an average Chelsea performance is, we will be significantly better than, with 5 games to go, we can finally celebrate that we won't get relegated. It will be better than that, but at the same time, there is still so much work to be done. Nothing was perfect. No one was, I would say, amazing, but because we have been so poor, to simply see the team putting in effort, getting forward, creating chances, and more above anything else, scoring goals to get 3 points makes me absolutely delighted. Conor Gallagher gets the first. We have then got the second goal from Benoit Badiashile, the first one in a Chelsea shirt, which, by the way, Lampard was praising him. Finally, we see Mudryk start, we see Noni Madueke start, we see Badiashile start, the January signings that aren't Enzo Fernandez. These guys are all good footballers. I have got so much belief in Madueke and Mudryk. I think these two, Mudryk yesterday, until Chilwell went off, I think there was a bit of a struggle with the link-up. I think Chelsea were more fluid down that right-hand side. Noni Madueke's got the ability to take players on. N'Golo Kante was drifting out wide to create overloads in those areas. And it basically allowed Noni Madueke to have that part of his game, which taking on players, beating the man. I think he's taken on more players successfully since he joined Chelsea in January than anybody else in the team. And Joao Felix is the man who we've seen go on crazy runs, mazy runs, beat players, but then the final end product wasn't there. Even he scored a beautiful goal yesterday. Raheem Sterling comes off the bench, runs at players. Even Hakim Ziyech comes off the bench and actually put in a really solid substitutes performance. So overall, I think the way that Chelsea won this game, Bournemouth, they've been really good recently. They've been scoring lots of goals. They weren't clinical enough. It's as if all of Chelsea's problems, we just contaminated Bournemouth with it yesterday. They could have scored more. Kepa makes a few big saves, but overall, I am just delighted that Chelsea get the 3 points. And as I've already said, we are now safe. And as much as it might sound sarcastic, it may sound ironic, the longer it would have gone between now and the end of the season without Chelsea being mathematically safe, we would start having sleepless nights. The players would start having sleepless nights because it would be the biggest story in the history of football if Chelsea spent 600 million quid and got relegated. So the longer that losing run kept going, the more horrible of a position this season would be, and the harder it would be to get some kind of bounce for next season, because the belief was gone. But with that result, we can start believing a bit again. There were positives in there, and we begin. Box number 1 is a green for the man who, Todd Bowley, goes to France in his Lamborghini, brings us back a centre-half, Benoit Badiashile. What a brilliant player this is. It's a great finish, and to score like a semi-scissor kick for your first Chelsea goal, even though it was only about 6 yards out, and he hits it straight at the goalkeeper, who palms it into the roof of the net. Massive time to score. 82 minutes in, Chelsea were fighting hard, Bournemouth were digging in deep, but then all of a sudden, defensively they capitulated and Chelsea score from a set piece. Magnificent stuff. As soon as we went 2-1 up, Bournemouth kind of lost their heads. And it was Badiashile's goal that made the difference. I'm delighted for him because I've been sitting here for weeks and weeks now saying, what can this guy do? When you look at the performances that he's put in prior to getting this start yesterday, credit to Lampard for putting him in there, finally. He's been brilliant. And then all of a sudden yesterday, we see him in the side and he defends very well and scores what was the winning and decisive goal before Felix scores the third one. But it's big, it's massive. And I think when as centre-back, you see the reception that he got from the fans yesterday too. All Chelsea fans have been crying out to see these new players. We wanted to see the players we bought in January get starts. Badiashile's been the one for me who, above anyone else, has deserved it. When Thiago Silva was out injured, since Koulibaly's been injured, but still, we had to wait and it has been worth it. And I think because he scored, Lampard has said it, he wants to be giving more minutes to the younger players, the new signings, to bleed them in. And I think yesterday, we've pretty much guaranteed ourselves Badiashile in the centre-back position between now and the end of the season. Box number 2, Noni Madueke. No goals or assists yesterday, but it is exciting once more to finally see a Chelsea winger with the ability and the nous to take a player on, to beat the fullback, to cut inside. And Noni is so good at this. More take-ons than any other Chelsea player, and that is in like about 350 odd minutes of football. He's a very exciting prospect. And I think between now and the end of the season again, he scored against Arsenal and he built on that performance yesterday. There is still a lot of raw elements to his game when it comes to that final decision that he will get experience from continuously playing, which is why the next 4 matches are so valuable. You've got Newcastle in there, Man City, Man United. Tough opponents, really tough opponents for Chelsea. Even Forest are going to be fighting for everything. They've got good players in their squad. Madueke's got to be in there because the more he keeps playing, the more he has that time to be able to take players on. He was really helped yesterday from Kante, who I thought was positionally brilliant to help Chelsea out, to give Madueke a little bit more protection on that right side. But once again, for the second match in a row, very, very positive. I think to talk about Mudryk on the left, he was good, but I do think there was a lack of connection with Chilwell. And I think Chelsea played more towards that right side because it felt more comfortable. And as much as we want to see Mudryk get on the ball, drive at players, run at players, Chelsea managed the game well yesterday by knowing that Bournemouth were weaker on the left and using that right-hand side. Madueke was a threat and the energy was absolutely brilliant. Box number 3, Conor Gallagher. I thought he did well. When I saw him in the starting 11, I was like, I get it. Lampard really likes him. He brings the energy to this team. And I think when everyone else is playing well, Conor's energy flourishes more. And to see that goal yesterday, it's a brilliant header, but it's more the fact that he was in that position, which is absolutely brilliant. With Conor, when it was the start of this season, people have been calling me out for it recently, but I said this is the goal-scoring midfielder Chelsea need. What we're seeing this season, every time Conor plays, he gives 110%. He's one of the players in this Chelsea squad who, even if the performances haven't been great, there's very few players this year that we can say match by match, they've given 110%. With Conor, that's never questionable. And yesterday, it wasn't just the running, it was also the finish, and the arrival in the box was a lot smarter. Chelsea were overloading players a lot more, which gave us more chances to get more bodies in the box. He said it himself in his post-match interview, gets the goal, and I thought it was really positive. He was a bit more smarter on the ball as well, less erratic, and I think it's because Chelsea were controlling the game more. We had the majority of the possession, which we quite often do, but we were far more clinical, and we absolutely deserved it. Great stuff from Conor. Box number 4 is for Joao Felix, who comes off the bench and scores. I have said it all season long. The work rate isn't going to be there. Defensive work rate not going to happen. When he's on the ball, he can excite you. He can make things happen. He can take players on. He can dribble. And there's a few tricks in there that can entertain us. The goals weren't there. The assists weren't there. Not just from Joao, but from everybody in the team. So to see him score, it is brilliantly worked from Raheem Sterling, who came on and looked as though he wanted to be here. Finally, takes a man on, plays the pass, and it is a beautiful finish into the bottom left corner. Goalkeeper's right from Felix. I'm delighted for him. I don't think that one goal is going to be enough for me to say 80 million, spend it now, Todd, take my money, sell us down the river. Not yet. Absolutely not yet, but positives again. 3 goals. Can you believe that Chelsea scored 3 flipping goals? Box number 5 is simply the fact that we won a game. The fact that Chelsea win, I forgot what this feels like. I genuinely thought between now and the end of the season, we weren't going to win another game. It's why I didn't even do a match preview. I was out yesterday for a friend's birthday after the game, but I woke up on Saturday morning and I was like, I don't really want to do a preview because I've been in such a negative headspace since that Arsenal game that I didn't just want to crowd the YouTube subscription feed with more negativity. But now that we've got a win, we need to build upon this now. We need to use the positives, look at the players that perform well, your Badiashiles, your Maduekis, even Gallagher. Keep him in the team. Absolutely keep him in the team. See if he can build on these goals. If we see Conor come up with 3 or 4 more between now and the end of the season, then maybe he isn't the option to sell. Maybe he is that player that can still develop. So far this season, it's been hard to find positives. Yesterday, 3 goals, 3 points. We are safe. Box number 6, it sounds silly. It sounds sarcastic and ironic, but genuinely, the longer it went on, the more concerned and scared I was that it actually could happen in the most embarrassing fashion possible. But Chelsea will be in the Premier League next season. And for that, I'm absolutely buzzing. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the 6 things we learned. Let me know the 6 things you learned from Bournemouth 1, Chelsea 3 in the comments down below. It's Monday tomorrow, so I'll be back with the news. Come on, you Blues.